Star Wars only, I don't know what the fuck your problem is.
One of the great things about the Star Wars fandom is that we have our fan favorite characters, and one of them happens to be Darth Maul, who debuted in 1999's The Phantom Menace, and a lot of people were disappointed to see Darth Maul be killed off so early into the prequel trilogy. He could have been a great antagonist for someone like Obi-Wan Kenobi. So when he was brought back in the Clone Wars show, it was mostly due to fan demand. It was mostly due to the positive reaction that he had from the Star Wars community. And then we got to see him not only return in Clone Wars, but also in the Star Wars Rebels show that came out under Disney. And now we even get to see him in Solo: A Star Wars Story, reprising his role with Ray Park coming back. And that was really cool because a lot of fans love Ray Park. He is a great guy. He's a fellow martial artist, and he gets along with the fandom really well. He goes out of his way to make fans not only happy, but to be interactive with them. So I really appreciate everything Ray Park has done in the Star Wars fandom. And we got some pretty good news today. Through a very reliable source, we now know that Lucasfilm is actively looking at Ray Park to reprise his role as Darth Maul in future unannounced projects over there in the Star Wars universe. Now, what this could be, in my opinion, is easily the Solo Part 2 story. Because at the end of Solo: A Star Wars Story, you had Darth Maul and Kira talking to each other about potential plans with the little drug lord stuff that he's got going on, or maybe it's just a crime lord syndicate. I don't know why I called it drug lord. It just seems like, he might be running spice. Who knows what Darth Maul is doing over there? But still, we have a potential story arc there. And there's a few unannounced projects that are still over there in the works at Lucasfilm, and Darth Maul might be coming back, because we know Lucasfilm was looking at Ray Park due to the positive reaction that he had in Solo: A Star Wars Story when he came back as Darth Maul, and just due to the popularity of the Maul character over the past 15 to 20 years. So I think this is one of those situations where Lucasfilm is actually listening to the fans, where they look at characters that fans love, like Darth Maul, and say, well, if fans love him so much, and we have room between Rebels and Solo: A Star Wars Story to tell more stories about Darth Maul, why not take this opportune moment and do that? He's even returning in Clone Wars Season 7, which I think is also going to make his character return in a potential show in the future or another project in the future a little bit more enticing, because now you can build up more demand for his character with him coming back in Season 7, and you also have Ray Park doing the mocap suit for Season 7, which will be very interesting to see, because I don't think they've ever done anything like that for any of the Star Wars shows, like Rebels or like Clone Wars. I don't know, but I think Ray Park coming back as Darth Maul is great. I think it's one of those fan pleasers that is inherently good, because it shows Star Wars fans that the people who are making Star Wars are actually listening to you and actually taking what you say to heart and going, if you want Darth Maul, we're going to give you more Darth Maul. But it is one of those things where you got to also show that you really want him. So, I mean, I'm subscribed to Ray Park on Instagram. I don't know what else social media stuff he's got, but I support the man any way I can, and if you want him back, I suggest doing the same. But I just think it's kind of good to hear that Lucasfilm is actively looking at the guy for potential projects in the future as Darth Maul, because he does a great job at Darth Maul. I wasn't a big fan of Solo: A Star Wars Story, but I remember when the movie was coming out and I saw it opening day, there was a guy in the back when Darth Maul's reveal happened. He was like, "That's badass!" And I mean, I didn't really laugh at the time, but I was like, well, at least he's liking it, at least he's enjoying these kind of reveals, and it really does set up a future story arc with Darth Maul. And we remember the popular Twitter thing that happened, I think, over a year ago, where it was, make Solo 2 happen. And that was a big movement going on in the Star Wars fandom, and it's something that I think shows Lucasfilm that people still want those story arcs to continue, even though Solo didn't do well in the box office. There are certain aspects of almost every Star Wars movie that we look at and say, that story can be continued and that story can be improved on. And I think Darth Maul is one of them. I am disappointed that he was killed off in Rebels. I think he should have been killed off in the Kenobi show or another way. I think him and Kenobi should have had more closure in a live action aspect, because the fact that they're making a Kenobi show, to me, thinks, hey, I think they should have brought him back and killed him off there instead of doing it in Rebels in my opinion, an anticlimactic way. But I can't win them all, can I? But still, Lucasfilm is actively looking at bringing Ray Park back as Darth Maul in a future unannounced Star Wars project, and can't be happier about this, man. I can't be happier, because this is one of those things that I think is really going to make the Star Wars fandom happy, and I do wonder, what's he going to do when he returns? Is it going to be a live action show? Is it going to be a movie, potentially? I mean, there's that Star Wars movie in 2022, but if I had to bet, if I'm a betting man, which I am, I would say it's going to be a spin-off show on Disney Plus following the crime syndicate that Darth Maul is involved in between Solo and Rebels. But tell me your thoughts below. What do you guys think about Lucasfilm looking at Ray Park to reprise his role as Darth Maul in a future upcoming project over there at Lucasfilm? Do you want it to be a show? Do you want it to be a movie? What are your thoughts on this? I'd love to hear your comments below. I'm Star Wars Only. Hope you guys enjoy this video. I will see you all next time, and may the Force be with you always.